So I mentioned to Brian that I would do a video on the tool I used to stretch the casing of the Salisbury in order to make life a little bit easy to get the differential in and out. When it's got a 5/1000th of an inch preload, it means the bearings are pressed into the casing, if you see what I mean. There's 5/1000th of an inch needs squidging together, so you need to unsquidge it to get the differential in and out. So this is the tool, and you've seen me use it before, and I just knocked it up out of bits and pieces really. But this is 3/4 inch UNF. Now again, everything over here in Canada is bloody inches, so we can't do anything about it. 3/4 of an inch UNF, fine thread, so it'll take a lot of weight, but don't over tighten these. You know, just give them about one turn and that's usually enough. So this came in a 3 foot length, so I cut it to 18 inches and it was perfect. So what I did was I took it down to JP, and he had a bit, I think he had a bit off, or we found a little bit of bar here that was suitable for machining, and he machined and drilled the 4 holes so they were all in line. And this here is 1¼ inch square. Alright, it's 1¼ inch square. The centres of these is just on the edges of the differential. So if I get a tape out and measure them, that's 9¼ inches, so you could go 9½ quite easy. That's alright. Now you can see a modification I made. I put these little pads on here. That was to make sure it was suitably located on the top of the diff. As you can see, I put a mark on there which is the top, so that would go on your diff, and this is in the middle, but this is just offset to one side, so it's kind of easy to make. What's the width of this? 14. So there you go, 14, 1¼ inch, 3/4 inch bar, couple of nuts, couple of washers, and that's it. It's really easy to do, and I just welded this bit on, and it's good. So now I can hook that on the top of the diff and then just progressively tighten it up, and then you'll feel when the diff's about to come out, and you can even use a couple of bars to pull it as well. So that is a handy tool to have if you're going to do diffs, because they are a struggle. Now, while we're talking about differentials, I thought I'd get some gear out and show you the rest of the tools in the armoury. Let's start with mag mounts here. Mag mounts. You're all sort of familiar with it. Bloody mags, I can't move them. You're all familiar with this old type. Well, I've even converted JP to this type now. It's got one bar on it, one nut I should say, and you lock it in and it'll go there and it'll stay. This is the same, but that's on a little round base and it's just a bit stubbier. And I have another little tiny one here. This little chap here. That's for doing sort of intricate jobs, because sometimes you get gauges like this have got a very, very small range. You know, very small range. But if you can see on the back of there, you engineering chaps know, this has got a dovetail on. And all these machines, all these setups here, except for this one, have got a dovetail fastening. And it's in the end of here. I bet watch me make a mess of this. Oh, that didn't take long. There you go, you see. So now if you nip that up, you can put a dial gauge through the middle, or you can put one on the end on that little dovetail. And like I say, because you can move them around to any position and then lock it where you want it to be on your mag mount, they're really handy to have. They're really good. I like those. So that's the mag mounts out there. And again, they come in a variety of fixtures, but you're really handy. But these old ones are okay, but they're sort of a bit primitive, and you always sort of run out of rod, the distance you need. So that's that. We've measured the height gauge. We've done the height gauge before. That's for setting the diffs, the pinion, if you don't know what it is. I'll mention some other little bits and pieces of tools as well. I bought this from Ashcroft's because I couldn't be bothered making one. But this is for the front differential, the smaller one, the Rover differential, and it's for turning this nut in and out. So instead of shims on the front diffs, you can move it in and out to get the backlash and the clearances correct. It's a lot better idea than messing about with shims. What else have I got? Oh yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, I had JP to make me some little stoppers to go in here so I could put a puller and pull this bearing off. You can get the bearings off alright, but you need something in the middle. But funnily enough, this is a 10 spline carrier, and that goes in there, but the 24 spline is bigger, won't go in. So you can't really mix and match bits and pieces up, sadly. So I've got a 10 spline differential kicking about, but who wants them? Nobody wants them. Maybe series guys want them. So those are handy. And again, another little tool here to go into the Salisbury axle. I think that was for putting my other puller on, but I just nipped down to JP and he whacked some out of nowhere. This is a stupid little thing, just a little ring. So when I push the bearings on, it'll go over the carrier, and it doesn't damage anything. You know, just sometimes when I'm in JP's, I'll take a bearing down and say, hey, can you make something that's a nice fit for that? So when I push the bearing on, I make sure it is completely down and crushing the parts there. So that's it. Now I keep everything in a little case now, just in case. Oh, and this thing here, that's a weight for putting on the pinion, so you can put a gauge on to measure the heights of the bearing centres in a Salisbury. But that's it. That's it. Oh, and a couple of regular gauges here. Where's that one? Is that metric? Oh dear me. Yeah, that's a metric one, and that's an inch one. And I just keep some bearings in there just in case. I almost forgot. The most interesting thing was the dummy bearings. I think that was the whole point of doing this video. Can you use old bearings that you've ground out, or new bearings that you've taken the centre out? Yes, you could, but it means buying a bearing and ruining it. But the thing, so there you go. Do you need a lot of gear? Sometimes. The carrier spreader is a lot better. That I copied that idea out the Land Rover book. There is another version that fits in the two little round holes either side and stretches this way. I saw that one and I thought that was a lot better. If you look on Dingo Croft's website to see about these tools, I'll put a link below. They are fantastically expensive. Alright, make your own. You'll find a JP somewhere, surely.